Hey there everybody, welcome back to another Diablo 4 video. I'm Captain Beefy, this is the Game Vault, and today I'm going to rage about all the things I despise about this game and why I'm quitting it. Nah, but seriously, I love the game. I've put a couple hundred hours into it so far. I've got 5 characters running right now. But I do have some thoughts on some things that would greatly improve the experience overall. So, let's cue up the music, and then we'll get to talking about them. Alright, first off, let me know in your comments down below what you think needs to change in Diablo 4 to make it an even better game than it already is. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's perfect the way it is? Tell me. Let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll talk about it, you know. Not everybody has all the answers. I know I don't, but I do have some suggestions. And my very first one is going to start right up here with the stash box. So, the stash box gives you multiple tabs. One of which you start with. The other 3 you have to purchase with in-game gold, which isn't bad, you know. That's not the end of the world. But that's it, and these can fill up fairly rapidly. Now, mine, of course, looks very empty right now, but I just did a major spring cleaning where I basically dumped every sacred legendary that I had. Words are so hard sometimes. Yeah, I dumped every sacred legendary I have, and as far as the ancestral ones and all that, I went and extracted aspects from some of them, but I also left behind, let's get back over there, some perfect aspects on these that I might be interested in using later on for upgrades for my sorceress. So, and even some of them, you know, if I'm not really interested in using them for my sorceress, at least I'll have them in here for another iteration of this character, or maybe one of the other characters that I'm currently running. So I did clean it up massively, but I had a ton of crap in here. You know, and I think one thing that would really be a big benefit is if it added, even if it's just one more tab, but that tab was personal to the character. That way, if I have projects I'm working on, things that I want to save, maybe to upgrade later or look into more, I could throw those things on that tab for that specific character. It would give me that space for it, and I would have that for each and every character, which would be kind of neat. Because if I start off, you know, I've started off several other characters. They're in their 20s right now. They're not really pulling legendary gear and all that. But once they start pulling the legendary stuff, mixing it in with, you know, this is going to be rough, because it's going to, you know, put some really low-level crap in with some high-level crap. And mixing that kind of crap up, not a good thing. But that's just my thought down below. So, another great thing I think that would be a monster benefit to this game is mapping your path, right? So, we spend a lot of time going from place to place in this game, in the open world. And the world is beautiful, man. It's really, they did a great job with it. Every area looks unique. You've got a swampy area, deserty area. You've got this snowy area here. And every biome look to it. More creatures, and all kinds of fun stuff about it. But what we're doing mainly is looking at that little map up top there in the upper right-hand corner to make sure we don't take a wrong turn at Outward and end up in the wrong area, right? I know I spend an enormous amount of time looking at that. Whereas if it puts some, like, you know how when you come to a cliff and you have to jump the cliff or go up, you know, jump in a chasm or go over the cliff or whatever, it's got those little white footprints. Well, wouldn't that be nice to have on the game when you mark a spot like I just did on the map to travel to it, right? I marked the stable master. Now to walk over there, you know, I could take the horse, but to walk over there, it'd be cool to have the little footprints. That would keep my eyes on the actual game itself and off of that mini-map, and I would see more of what's going on around here, which I think would be a huge quality of life improvement, you know? It doesn't have to be anything, you know, very distracting and all that. I think those pale white footprints would be cool. They wouldn't be on there all the time, only when you chose to use them. I think that's when they would come in handy. And I could say, all right, I want to go here, I want to go there. Let me see the way. Then I'm not looking up in that upper right-hand corner for, 60% of my game time watching where I'm going to make sure I don't make a wrong turn. Just a thought. But speaking of traveling, this one irks me a little bit, and I think needs to be removed from the game completely, or at least adjusted somehow. And that is... Alright, so I've arrived where I want to go, right? So I get off my horse, but now I have to wait before I can get back on my horse. And I get it, I just use the attack, getting off the horse. But even if I don't use the attack, right? I'm just traveling around. I get off. I got 10 seconds I gotta wait so I can get back on the horse. And that can be a little frustrating. Like, here's a situation where we would have had to run through there. And then, I'd have to wait for 10 seconds to go ahead and get back on the horse. And that can really slow you down and things. I know it's a minor first world problem, but I just think that's kind of a silly little thing to have in there to put that 10-second cooldown on. I would hope they would pull that out or cut it in half, whatever, man. I mean, if I'm running to an event and I have to do something that involves, where's those white footsteps? Right over here. These little white footsteps. So I got to climb up. I'd like to be able to get back on my horse again real quick, right? I hop off, get down, and I still got to wait. And that's annoying. So that would be a great fix, a great change to make. Hopefully, we'll see that one coming up in the future. Now, another thing I would love to see in this game, and I think it would be a huge quality of life improvement, would be regarding the Paragon board, right? So, if we go to our abilities, we go to our skill tree, if you look down at the bottom, holding the square button down, or hitting the square button, I can refund all of these skills in one shot. Now, each one costs money to do it, As you can see here, it costs 20,000 to refund the rank. So it will get expensive and all that, but it would be cool if it said refund all and then had the price underneath it to do it, whether it's $100,000 or $10 million, I don't care. I want to know how much it is, because then I could just say, all right, you know what? I found a really awesome, unique weapon or piece of armor, and I want to totally rebuild my character using that, from the ground up. I'd be able to refund all, know how much it's going to cost, and then just pop it. So it's cool that it's there. It would be nice if they put a price on it. But the real problem here is the Paragon board, right? You don't see that option anywhere. Absolutely nowhere. So what you have to do for the Paragon board is refund one at a time. At a time. So if I wanted to totally rework this, I've got an ice build right now. And if I found some stuff that made me want to do a lightning build or a fire build, I would have to go through and meticulously unselect each and every one of these that is not necessary, one at a time, until I got to where I wanted. And even if they did it like by going here on the first one of the board to, or you can refund the board. Alright, so you see, they've already got built in there, refund the board, right? Unequipped board. It would be nice to refund the board too. A second option there, like maybe you hit square to unequip it, you hold down square to refund the entire board. I can see maybe not doing the whole thing if you don't want, but again, it would be cool to have that with a price tag on it. It'll cost you, $100,000 to refund this. It'll cost you $250,000 to refund that one. $300 a year, and that could give you some options as far as, building and changing that character and making it a lot easier. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, if I find, and eventually I will find, a piece of equipment that would totally allow me to do a completely different build for this character, and it doesn't gel, it doesn't gel with what I have right now, I'd be very hesitant to just unequip everything on this Paragon board and redo it. To me, that's a frustrating endeavor to look at. I've spent so much time curating it and getting it to where it is that if I had to just one at a time take these things off, oh god, not cool. It's cool if you make a minor mistake and you want to, oh crap, I grabbed willpower, I wanted intelligence. That's fine, unequip the one node, equip the other one. But to totally redefine a character, awful, awful, awful. Now, that thought kind of goes hand in hand with this next one that I have, and we're going to go up here to talk about that. So we see here in the wardrobe that we have the ability, and where is it, to set up different ensembles, right? So you can have 5 slots. Why don't we have that for loadouts, right? Why don't we have that for loadouts? All of your skills, all your Paragon points, the Paragon boards, the way they're set up in there as a loadout. Loadout 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just like this. You know, if they don't want to make it so you can do the changes on the fly in the wild, cool. Add it into here with the armoire, so that you can come in and say, all right, you know what, I want slot number 1 outfit, and I want slot number 2 loadout, or whatever. You could actually build your loadout to match your slot. You know, if you had a fire one, you could make a red outfit. If you had an ice one, a blue one, and so on and so forth. Have some fun mixing and matching that. But it would also have to show you how much it would cost to do all that, because you don't want to go in there and go, okay, you know what, I want a new loadout. You don't realize it costs you 20 million gold, and all you have is 22 million gold, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, you know, because it's going to get expensive the higher level you are. And I can't imagine what it would cost me right now to respec the entire character. I'm only level 80. I got 20 levels to go before I hit max level. So, yeah, that's gonna get up there in price a little bit. All right, so the next 2 things I want to talk about are going to throw us back 2 games to Diablo 2, where that was the game that really made me fall in love with the franchise. I enjoyed the first one. 2 was like, yeah, 2 was badass. It was incredible. 3 was okay. It was good, but it didn't touch 2, in my opinion, overall. It just kind of lacked it and never had that same whatever it was that 2 had that made it so good. But 2 things that 2 had that I loved, and I would love to see implemented in this, maybe down the road as seasonal content that eventually becomes part of the game or whatever. But the first one would be runes. You know, we have gems now, right? We have gems that we can socket. And let's go up and look at our gems here. We have gems that we can socket into weapons and armor and jewelry. And these gems do different things depending on what they're socketed in, you know. Like, for instance, an amethyst will damage over time in a weapon, damage taken over time reduction in armor, shatter resistance in jewelry. Diamonds, plus 9% ultimate skill in a weapon, 3.5 barrier generation in armor, and 5% resistances to all elements in jewelry. So you're really limited to just a handful of gems and the what they can do. And while it's cool that they have them and they have different levels of them, you know, all the way up. I have all the way up to Royal now. I just tried that. I hit level 80 to see if there's a level above it. I did not see one. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, or it doesn't mean that it's not coming up, but it would be cool to have more options like runes. Runes were cool in Diablo 2, and rune words were even cooler, but rune words, I get it. You know, we had weapons and armor in Diablo 2 that had, I think, 6 slots was the most it could have, or 6 sockets, which is kind of crazy. I mean, imagine putting 6 sockets in this one, you know, like you know, in a weapon, you know, you'd have 6 slots. There's almost 150 life on kill just from 6 royal skulls going into it. I mean, it's cool and all, but I get not wanting to do that. But runes would be cool to make them kind of like an extra rare type drop that only drops in certain things, like maybe only drops during world boss events, legion events, helltide events, maybe in higher level ancestral nightmare dungeons, you know, level 21 and up, whatever. Make that kind of a reward and something to look for in the game, and put a variety of them in there, because you could have some very cool, powerful items, you know, powerful runes that could help change a game and help define a character. But if you make them rare, and I'm not talking about, you know, Shaco rare, but if you make them rare enough that you're not going to be able to, as a character, farm, you know, 5 of them and put them on your shirt, your pants, and your hat, you know, you're going to get lucky if you get 1 or 2. It could be kind of sweet, you know, really, really cool. So that's something I'd love to see. And I'd also love to see sets come back. And again, this might be something that we see down the road in seasons. You know, we had armor sets back in the day in Diablo 2. I remember you had armor sets that were from 2 to 5 pieces. Some of them included, I think it was 2 to 5, maybe it was 3 to 5. But some of them included weapons and so forth. And they gave you set bonuses, whether it be a partial set bonus, like a 5-piece set at 3 pieces would give you this, X, you know. And at 5 pieces, when you got it all, it would give you X plus this. And those things, they were kind of cool because it gave you something to look for. You're like, oh man, I really want this set, you know, and you can kind of see what the set bonus would be. And these could be cool to introduce to the game because I think they could help with the parity of build types. Right now, there's certain major builds in the meta, right? And this is what happens in a game like this. The game comes out, people check it out. You got guys that go in and grind and find, you know, they do the math and they find the most efficient way to deal DPS in a game, and then they post videos about it and guides online, and everybody races to become a part of the meta and become that same exact thing. You know, it's like, oh, I want to be the pulverizing druid, or I want to be the ice shard sorcerer, and that's all well and good if that's what you want for the, you know, for the maximum DPS and all that. Personally, I enjoy having fun in the game, and while it's tempting sometimes just to go online and go, you know what, I'm going to convert my sorcerer over to an ice shard sorceress. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm enjoying what I've got and what I've built. Now, is it the most efficient build in the world? That's an absolute negative, Ghost Rider, but it's fun, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun going into the middle of a mob and freezing them all, and then just watching them pop off as ice spikes come out of the ground while blizzards raining down on them. And yeah, it's a good time. So, you know, putting in these sets could offer some variance to how you play as a character, because you might have a set in there that all of a sudden accents a less than desirable skill, like Incinerate. You know, I haven't really tried Incinerate myself, but in the last 2 or 3 days I've seen several videos that are ranking it as one of the lowest tier skills available for the sorcerer. And, you know, so something like that, you know, it's worth, why is it even in the game if it's useless, right? You know, maybe it's something that serves a function early on in the game and then later on it loses its punch. I don't know. I haven't really tried it. I went ice all the way with this girl from the beginning. So, my thoughts on set pieces. And that can be something that comes out in season. Now, the next thing I know is definitely a thing, and it's coming out, I think, Season 2, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I thought this from the beginning. Remember that big box of gems I had? Yeah, pretty soon that's going to look like this here, where it's going to be listed down here with all your other goodies that you have for crafting. So putting the gems in there is going to be just completely fantastic. I just spent... So, let's look at this box again real quick. A couple days ago, maybe 2 days ago, I had to spend over 20 million gold just to be able to fit all of these back into a box again, because some of them had surpassed the maximum stack size, which is 50, right? So, you know, so then I had a stack of 50 and a stack of 30, this stack of 50. So, I went in a couple days ago and I just went to the gem guy, and I upgraded them all to the highest levels I could for everything, you know. Now, slowly but surely, we're picking up more, and, you know, this box is growing again, but it'll be nice to get that into the crafting material type thing. And even if it limits it at 50, that's fine, man. That's really fine. I don't think that would be a problem for anybody. It would be kind of low. You know, give us a couple hundred, whatever. Won't be stingy, but I would get it. I mean, how often am I going to use... It's not like you can't reuse gems when you break down or sell a piece of equipment. It's not like you don't have the option to get it back. You know, and right now, I mean, 36 royal skulls, right? The maximum amount of skulls I can have equipped at any one time on a character is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I could do 3 characters and have 6 left over for a 4th in all skulls right now. Royal skulls at that. So, again, you know, not that big of a deal. No reason to, you know, 50 would be a low limit, but it would be workable at this point. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, what else? What else? What else? Another big thing I would like to see. And this one's kind of funny. I'd like to see us have the ability to have a pet in-game. And I don't want, you know, this is I know this is kind of topic that people, pet, what do you... Well, think about it. It would be cool to have a few options for pets, and it would be a cosmetic item, right? Something that you can earn maybe through beating a world boss or, the capstone dungeon, whatever. It's only available at a certain level. Maybe you got to beat the game and beat the capstone dungeon. As soon as you get to World Tier 3, you get a pet. But the pet would be cool if you had it. It wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't want it to do anything in combat, right? I wouldn't want it to be able to interact with any creatures in the game. I don't want it to be a distraction. I don't want it to have an attack. I don't want it to have a defense. I don't want it to pull creatures away from me and distract them while I beat them up from afar with my blizzards. No. What I'd like a pet for is, I think it'd be cool if you had that pet and it could run around the battlefield a certain distance away from you and collect stuff. Gold, mainly. Dropped health globes if you need them. And maybe you could set it to, have something to customize it and say, all right, pick up only ancestral grade gear. And it would just automatically pick that stuff up as it falls around you. And maybe give it a little bit of an inventory so that it can hold some of this stuff. And then you'd have the ability to, actually carry more stuff and not worry. Even if it doesn't carry it and just picks it up and throws it in your inventory, that's cool because it just saves you running around picking crap up. And being able to customize it would be really sweet. And you can get really complex with it and say, Ancestral Legendary only, Ancestral Legendary pants only, if you're really targeting something in particular that you really, really want. Or, to eliminate things that you don't want. It'd be kind of neat, I think, to have a pet in the game. And, don't make them goofy if you do it, but there's plenty of little mini demons out there. A treasure goblin would be fantastic. Your own little treasure goblin running around, how appropriate would that be? So, yeah, just my thoughts. Just my 2 cents on what I think would be nice to help improve the Diablo 4 experience. I talk to a lot of players, watch a lot of videos on this, and some of these things are some stuff that other people have said, and other people complain about stuff I don't really agree with. I'm not finding, I'm a level 80. Yeah, I'm in the end game grind. People have said that after 70, 75, it's boring. I still find it fun, man. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But little changes like this could make a big difference, especially in the long run. I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault. If you haven't done so, please leave a like on the video down below. Hope you have a great day. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications. I will see you next time. Until then, peace.